When we were light, Liam Adimi hadn't meant to come back to Lisbon. Not really. He told himself it was just for the photography exhibition, nothing more. A quick in and out trip, a few polite handshakes, maybe some wine, and then back to London. But as the plane descended, and the soft orange rooftops of the city came into view, something settled in his chest. An ache, almost nostalgic. Lisbon still held a piece of him. Or perhaps, it held someone who once did. He hadn't seen Isabel Moreira in 5 years. They'd met during his artist residency, a London-born photographer of Nigerian roots and a fiery Portuguese painter who never explained her work. Their connection had been swift, intoxicating. They were two people running from different shadows but drawn to the same light. That summer had been color and breathlessness. Mornings tangled in bedsheets, afternoons exploring narrow alleyways of Alfama, and evenings in her paint-scented studio, the air thick with unspoken dreams. But he had left. No grand goodbye, no final words. Just a letter on her easel and a flight back to his old life. He'd told himself it was for the best. Careers, timing, uncertainty. But in truth, he had been afraid. Of her. Of the way she saw through him. Of how much he had wanted to stay. Now, 5 years later, Lisbon was just as he remembered it. Sun-warmed stones, melancholic photo music drifting from balconies, and that golden light that made everything feel like a memory. His exhibition opened in a gallery tucked near the coast. Faces smiled. Critics praised. Cameras flashed. But Liam was looking for only one person. He saw her on the second evening. She stood near the back of the gallery, half-shadowed, wearing a long linen coat and eyes that still held oceans. Her hair was shorter now, but her expression was the same, quiet, sharp, unreadable. "Hello, Liam," she said, as though 5 years hadn't stretched between them. He could barely breathe. "Isabel." She smiled, but not kindly. "I came for the photographs. Not the man." He nodded, throat tight. "Still painting." "Always," she replied. "You still leaving without goodbye." That hurt more than he'd expected. He wanted to apologize, to explain, to pull her into an embrace and beg her to listen. But she was already turning to go. The next few days passed in a haze. He saw her again. Once sketching by the water, another time walking past his old residency building. Maybe she wanted him to see her. Maybe she didn't care. But fate, or something like it, gave them one more chance. It rained on the 5th night. Lisbon rarely offered heavy storms, but this night was different. Liam ducked into a familiar bookstore, half shelter, half memory, and found her standing in the art section, tracing the spine of a book they'd once shared. She didn't look surprised. "You still wander in the rain. You still sketch when it pours," he returned. They smiled, small and sad. For the first time, their walls cracked. They talked for hours. About everything. Her gallery, his work, the years between. She had loved him, she admitted. Hated him for leaving. But never stopped painting the way he made her feel. Light, fragile, alive. "I was scared," he confessed. "Of ruining you. Of ruining us." "You did," she said quietly. "But I ruined things too. I expected you to stay when I never asked you to." They were both broken in their own way, they realized. But something had remained. Later that night, they found themselves in her old studio. It smelled the same, linseed oil and lavender soap. She pulled out a canvas. On it, the Lisbon sky bled into silhouettes. 2 figures, standing apart, but bathed in gold. "That was us," she said. Liam stepped closer. "Can there be a new painting?" She looked at him then. Not with bitterness, but something softer. A flicker. A beginning. They didn't kiss. Not yet. But when they danced slowly, barefoot on the paint-splattered floor, the room felt warm again. He pressed his forehead to hers. Outside, Lisbon was quiet. The rain had stopped. But inside, 2 hearts, tender and tired, beat in rhythm again. Not as they were, but as they could be.